Hi, welcome back to our video lessons. In this video, we will talk about the frequency distribution table for group data. The frequency distribution table for group data shows the data arranged into different classes and the number of cases which fall into each classes. These are the steps in making the frequency distribution table for group data. Number one, we have to solve for range, which is highest value minus the lowest value. Number 2, we are going to solve for k, which is equal to 1 plus 3.322 log of n, where k is the number of intervals that we are going to make, and n is the total number of population. And step number 3, we are going to solve for I, which is equal to range over k, where I means the class size interval or class width. Let us try to solve this example number 1 by making a frequency distribution table. The data represents the ages of 40 women who are playing volleyball in the park. We are going to construct a frequency distribution table. So these are the ages of women who are playing volleyball in the park. Based on the steps, the first thing to do is to get the range, but before that, we have to identify the highest value and the lowest value. And looking at the data, the highest score or the highest value I can see is 27. And the lowest score or the lowest age or the lowest value that I can see in this data is 13. So I can now get range. So step 1 again is to get the range. The formula is highest value minus the lowest value, and our highest value is 27 and the lowest value is 13. We are going to subtract these two numbers and we are going to get the value of 14. The second step is to solve for k, wherein the formula is 1 plus 3.322 log of n, and the value of our n is 40 because we have 40 data. So to solve this one, I substituted n with 40. So k is equal to 1 plus 3.322 log of 40. So to operate this one, I entered log 40 in the calculator first, then multiply it to 3.322, and I got a value of 5.32 plus 1. So I have here 6.32, and round it off to the nearest whole number. I have here 6. So we are about to make 6 class intervals. Later, you will know what are these class intervals. So this is just a guide. This is just an approximate how many class intervals we are going to make. And the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to determine the class size interval. The formula is I equals R over K. We know that the value of our R is 14 and the value of our K is 6. So operating this, we have 14 divided by 6. I have 2.33, and I round it up to the nearest whole number, which is 3. So the expected class size is 3. So we have to remember this, that we are about to make 6 class intervals with a class size or class width of 3. Step number 4 is to make class intervals. These are the facts that we have from the previous steps. Highest value is 27 and the lowest value is 13. We have to make 6 class intervals with a class size of 3. I have here a table labeled class intervals with initials CI, and these are the locations of the class intervals. At the bottom, that would be our first class interval. These are the steps on how to make the class intervals. Number 1, start with the lowest score as the first lower limit. And the lowest value or the lowest score that we have is 13. So that's why I have there 13. Step number 2, we are going to add I minus 1 to obtain the upper limit. So the value of our I is 3. That is why we have here I minus 1. I is replaced by 3. Subtracted it by 1. So I have here 2. It means this 13 will be added by 2 to get the upper limit. So 13 plus 2, I have here 15. Step number 3, continue the counting for the next class or next class interval. So 15, continue the counting. So I have here 16, then add I minus 1. Again, the value of our I minus 1 is equal to 2. So 16 plus 2, I have here 18. Step number 4. Repeat step number 3 until the highest value is reached or achieved. Again, our highest value is 27. So I have here 19 plus 2. So that's why I have here 21. Continue the counting. I have here 22 plus 2. I have 24. Then continue the counting. I have here 25 plus 2. I have here 27. Notice that the sixth class interval is empty. I did not continue that one because we have already reached the highest value, which is 27. So instead of making 6 class intervals, we are going to utilize only 5 class intervals because we have reached the highest value. Step number 5 is to get the frequency of classes. But before we can get the frequency, we are going to do the tally. So we have here class intervals, the class intervals that we have identified, and then these are the row score or the data. So what we're going to do is we are going to find the class interval it belongs. So for example, I have here 18. So this can be found in the second class interval between 16 and 18. The next one is number 20. It can be found in the third class interval between 19 and 21. Just repeat the process. We are done doing the tally, so we can now get the frequency. You think doing the tally is very easy. It needs focus and concentration because one mistake, you really have to repeat the process. So let's get the frequency. For the first class interval, so I have here 3. For the second class interval, I have 11. For the third class interval, I have 14. And for the fourth class interval, I have 7. And for the fifth class interval, I have 5. Let us try to add this if we missed something. And that is correct. We got a total of 40. Step number 6 is to get the class marks or midpoint denoted by the symbol X. This is the formula on how to get the class mark. X is equal to the lower limit plus upper limit divided by 2. So again, we are going to use the first class interval, 13 and 15. The lower limit is 13 and the upper limit is 15. So we have here X is equal to the 13 plus 15 divided by 2. Operating the numerator, we have here 28 divided by 2. And the value of our X or class marks is 14. So I will write here 14. Doing the same process for the second class interval, I will have 17. This is the process on how to get the class mark. Step number 7 is class boundaries. So this is how to get the class boundaries. We will subtract 0.5 to lower limit and we will add 0.5 to upper limit. So on the first class interval, so I have here the lower limit is 13 subtracted by 0.5. So that is why I have here 12.5 and adding 0.5 to the upper limit. That is why we have there 15.5. Doing the same steps on the second class interval. So we have there 15.5 and 18.5. Subtracting 0.5 to the lower limit and adding 0.5 to the upper limit. You just have to repeat the steps for the rest of the class. You just have to repeat the steps for the rest of the classes. Step number 8 is cumulative frequency, and we will begin with a greater than cumulative frequency, meaning we will add the frequency successively from the bottom. So this would be our reference, the frequency column, and we just have to copy the frequency of the lowest class interval that is in 13 to 15. So I copied 3, and this 3 will be added to the next frequency, which is 11. That will give us 14, and this 14 will be added to the next frequency, which is another 14 that will give us 28, and this 28 will be added to the next frequency, which is 7, that will give us 35, and this 35 will be added to the next frequency, which is 5, and that will give us a total of 40. Next, we have to do the less than cumulative frequency. The same thing, we are going to add the frequency successively from the top, and our reference is still the frequency column, and we are going to copy the frequency of the class interval from the top. So that's why we have here 5. This 5 will be added to the next frequency, which is 7, that will give us 12. And this 12 will be added to the next frequency, which is 14, that will give us 26. And this 26 will be added to the next frequency, which is 11, that will give us 37. And this 37 will be added to 3, that is the next frequency, and that will give us a total of 40. So we have completed our frequency distribution table. We have the class intervals, we have the frequency, we have the class marks or midpoint, we have the class boundaries, we have the greater than cumulative frequency, and the less than cumulative frequency. So those are the basic steps on how to make the group frequency distribution table. I hope you learned something. That would be all for today. Bye-bye.